At the end of yesterday's episode, I said that I would be spending some time today looking at my marketing plan and my marketing strategy for the upcoming month. And while that is still very much on my mind, the marketing strategy has been pushed to the side just a little bit by another question that has come up, and that is the distinction between sales and marketing. And that's exactly what I want to tackle today. Hello there, Paul Heron here, and welcome back to the From Zero to Marketing Hero podcast. This podcast is my year-long experiment to record and create and upload a podcast episode every single day for 12 months in the hope that I can answer some critical questions just like this one and enable me to be able to attract my ideal client into my world on my own terms. If you've been following along with this podcast series, you'll know that I've said a few times that I have currently, up to this point, 5 years into my business, I've been predominantly outsourcing marketing and using a pay-to-play service of purchasing leads and starting conversations in that method. And this process has had fantastic results in many ways. But as I've said a number of times, this journey is about taking responsibility and ownership and discovering my own marketing recipes, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. Now, what's been on my mind today is this distinction between sales and marketing and what the differences even are. I spent most of my working career in the corporate world on the operations side of things. I always dreamt of having the skills and the confidence to be able to one day join the sales team. I loved the idea of getting out on the road and spending most of my time developing relationships. But I had a huge resistance to a lot of this stuff. And I can remember thinking things like, I'm just not built for sales. Even the first business I went into on my own, I went into it with a mindset of, I know what I'm doing. I know the product. I know how to deliver the best possible quality product I can. And in some ways, I naively thought that that would be enough to be able to attract clients into my business. Here I am now 5 years later, and I know with certainty that developing these conversations and being a good salesperson is a critically important element to anyone who goes into business. For most of us, particularly us service-oriented businesses, it is very much all about starting conversations, building good rapport, developing relationships, building trust, making offers, and closing sales deals. As a coach, and I know many other coaches feel the same way, this is something that I had a lot of resistance towards. I didn't want to be this pushy salesperson. I didn't want to be a salesperson at all, but I came to realize that it is just such an essential element in being able to create a successful business. And it's really funny looking back because 5 years ago, 10 years ago when I was still in the corporate world, I didn't think I had it in me to be a salesperson. And it's only today making this distinction and separation between what sales and what marketing is that I can actually reflect back and see that my sales skills, although not perfect, there's much more that I can potentially continue to work on. I have been able to develop sales systems that I can trust and rely on to regularly and consistently bring clients into my world. That ability to be able to look back and see something that was so daunting to me become something that is now quite natural and something I look forward to is huge. And now when I approach marketing with some of that same resistance and some of that same fear, I know that it is just something that I haven't quite cracked my own personal code on just yet. And if I can bring that mentality that this is a skill that I can invest time into developing and mastering, then I know that once I start to learn some of these components and learn how marketing works and learn how these pieces come together, then I know that in time that I'll be able to build the confidence that I need to be able to trust in my own marketing system. So when I start thinking about what marketing is, I think in some ways it might be better to start off with what sales is. And I think sales can best be described as all of the interactions we have with potential customers to encourage them to make a purchase. So sales is the process of converting prospects into actually turning them into paying customers. So I guess the way that I conceptualize this is that it's everything beyond that very first initial conversation. Once we've started a conversation, once we've started that process of communication, it is then our sales skills that click in and hopefully enable us to progress those prospects towards products that meet their needs, that provide both of us with a win-win in terms of the value that's being provided. So with this in mind, I think this really helps me to understand exactly what marketing is. And, for me, one of the best ways I can describe this is that it encompasses all the broader strategies that we use to reach our potential customers. Things like market research, advertising, public relations, all the outreach that we do. So the goal of marketing in many ways is to create awareness and interest in who we are, the products and services that we have to offer, and to move them towards that point where they feel that there is enough trust to reach out and make a purchase or make an inquiry. Now, I think we can take this a little bit further because we need to think of our marketing and our sales efforts as being interlinked or interconnected in some ways. If our marketing strategy isn't aligned with our sales strategy, if there's a mismatch between the trust that's been built up through the marketing process and what's actually going to be offered in the sales process, there is going to be an impact on the conversion rates. And for me at this stage, where I am right now, it might make sense not to go too much deeper than this. But as I said, it has been hugely beneficial just making that distinction between the two distinct processes of marketing and sales. And how has this specifically helped me? I think I was combining these two elements together. I was thinking about sales and marketing together as something I had to get my head around as a whole. But making this distinction has helped me to understand that my sales skills, although not 100% perfect and something that can be worked on and developed as time goes on, is not my focus through this project. And that's fantastic because now I know that I can focus on everything up to that initial conversation. And it actually helps reinforce my belief or my initial hypothesis, I guess, that this whole project was about replacing what Bark was doing for me. And I've mentioned my Bark process a few times through this journey, but for those listening for the first time, Bark is a pay-to-play service where I purchase leads. So they are doing all the marketing activities to attract these people into their service. I purchase a lead and then I have the opportunity to reach out and connect and start conversations. So it mostly becomes a sales process after these leads have been purchased. But what's coming up for me right now is that I think I still can approach that very first outreach or trying to get a conversation started with these leads as a marketing activity. And I think that is where the line in the sand will be for me in terms of this marketing project and marketing challenge that I'm tackling. So I think this has been really helpful in terms of me creating that first draft of a marketing strategy or marketing plan for my business. And make sure you do come back and have a listen to tomorrow's episode as well, because in that episode, I will talk about what I need to get done. I want to list a few items that are essential to consider in terms of coming up with that first marketing strategy or marketing plan that I can actually start taking action on. So that is it for today. I might leave it there. Again, I would really love to get your feedback on this. Do you think I'm on the right track with my definitions there describing the distinction between marketing and sales? Or maybe you're in the same boat that I was and you haven't really thought through how that distinction applies to you and your business. And if so, has it helped? The best place to start a conversation is on the Facebook group. You can search for the group. It's the From Zero to Marketing Hero group in Facebook. There is a link to the group over on my website, paulheronlifecoaching.com. Head on over there. You can reach out to me personally there. There's even a link to inquire about coming onto this show as a guest. So if you think you've got value to add, start a conversation and let's take it from there. Finally, if you are enjoying the show and getting value, consider subscribing. It really does help promote the show and get the show out to a wider audience. And until tomorrow, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Bye for now.